This is me, Joey Olberding, and Patrick Lewis debating the Stanley Cup Finals, and then the Houston Astros dominance, and then golf here on MRC 95.7.
And this is a busy time in sports.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Playoffs are happening in the NBA and playoffs happening in the NHL. Who are the two teams in the NHL right now?
The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Nashville Predators.
Right. So what's the series at right now?
2-2. The Penguins, they won the first two games. The Predators have won the second two. Really, if I can be honest, the Predators have dominated both games. But this guy for the...
Both games at home, you mean?
No, just all the games.
So all four games you think Predators have dominated?
Yeah, but this guy for the Penguins, Jake Gunzel.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that
It's okay.
right.
I don't know the pronunciation either, so I'm not going to correct you on that.
He's in the games that the Penguins won. He had both winning goals.
Mm-hmm.
And he's had I believe he's had the most winning goals out of anybody in NHL playoff history.
Okay.
With like 7 or something. It's like crazy. But yeah. And the Penguins have had a very good playoff. The Predators have cut it a bit more closely.
Yeah, they've cut it close.
Yeah. But they're the type of team that can either kind of get blown out one game or like blow another team out another game.
Right. It's either feast or famine with the Penguins.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. It's been the Predator series without a doubt. They've outshot the Penguins in all 4 games, and when the Penguins went in 2-0 to Nashville, and then Nashville won that game 3. Statistically, 3 out of the 4 teams that go in with a 2-1 lead in the Cup final end up losing the series. So if history presents itself and repeats it, then the Penguins will lose. The Predators have been good, as you mentioned, even in Pittsburgh, but at home they're 9-1 this postseason, and a lot has to do with their goalie Rene.
Yeah.
Rene's been outstanding. He's been okay on the road.
Yeah.
But he's been great at home. And if you watch these games on TV, and I forget his first name, the play-by-play announcer that does the NHL games, his last name's Emmerich, I believe, but I forget his first name. I apologize for that. But he's a great announcer. And he'll go and he'll say all these different things about the goal. And I'm just giving him credit right now because I'm just thinking about watching the game and all these different names that he has to talk about, how he gets the puck behind the net and how they have it in the zone, how they transition from play to play, and how well he gives us an idea of the atmosphere inside that Nashville stadium. And it's so much fun because I think Nashville is a great city. They have a great city for music, especially country music. They have the CMAs coming there this weekend, and now that Carrie Underwood is the wife of Keith Fisher.
Okay.
But there's a lot of presence and a lot of fan support in Nashville for these Predators. I think they're kind of a new team too. They haven't really been in the playoffs. They haven't really done anything. This is their first time in the finals.
Yeah, the first time. And I know that the Predators, they're like predatory. In the NHL. They've like a lot of teams that have faced them. You kind of think, okay, they can win, and but the Predators, even in a tight series, I remember that the Predators, they've just had a lot of close series, and each and every time the Predators have had just one really good game, and that's kind of been demoralizing for the other team.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think? We're in Game 5 right now. The series shifts back to Pittsburgh. Are we going to have a Penguins lead 3-2? What do you think? What's your payoff pitch for the NHL playoffs right now?
Well, my payoff pitch for the NHL playoffs is it's going to go to 7, and the Predators are going to win. The Predators are going to win this game. Then the Penguins are going to win the next.
So you think the opposing team is going to win at each other's home ice?
Yeah.
That's a bold statement.
It is a bold
You know,
statement.
here's a statistic for you. So early in the playoffs, when Ottawa went to the Rangers, okay,
Yeah.
the home ice had no relevance whatsoever. And that's indicative because Ottawa beat the Rangers. They thought they would have a little bit of home ice experience. They would get their crowd into it, like we talked about the NBA. Didn't happen. Ottawa won the series, right?
Yeah.
There's been about, I don't know the statistic currently, but right around that time, home ice was about 50-50. It didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't get a home ice advantage. But now, if you're saying that, Joey, that's bold. Because you think the Penguins, even as poorly as they played in those first 2 games, they still won. And the Nashville clearly has that home ice experience and that crowd behind them. But you're telling me that they're going to go in. Do you think they have enough momentum after that 4-1 victory to go into Pittsburgh and beat them Thursday night?
I can't really be sure which game they're going to win, but I know it's going to go to 7 games, one way or another. It could be that Penguins could win this game, they could win the next game, but it's going to go to 7.
It's going to go to 7. I think, man, dude, that's bold. If you think it's going to go to 7, you got to have to pick Pittsburgh now. Because if you go, I mean, they didn't have a chance at Nashville. They've only scored 2 goals in 2 games in Nashville compared to the 9 that Nashville scored. That's bold.
Yeah.
We're getting bold today, fellas. Here we go. All right, 7 games. Nashville's going to win. That's fine. If it goes 7, I love series that go 7.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
As a sports fan, you got to love that type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. You know, the NHL playoffs have to be interesting, right?
I kind of agree. Like I just love it. I think this is a good series, even with the NBA. A lot of people thought like, oh, it's just going to be a blowout. The Warriors are having, especially after these 2 victories, 98% chance to win the series and all that jazz. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that either.
Good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
I mean, that Cleveland can come back. They came back last time.
Mm-hmm.
I still think the Warriors are going to win, but it's certainly possible that Cleveland can win again.
You're right. I agree with you. So your payoff pitch is that it will go 7. Nashville will win. Nashville winning on Penguins home ice tonight, and then Pittsburgh coming back. That's a bold payoff pitch, man. I'm saying that we're going to probably go 7, and I think the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to win. That's my payoff pitch. I think they're going to keep home ice. I think Murray, who's played well, their goalie, and Sidney Crosby has, even though I don't like this term, his legacy is up for grabs for this series. He's done really well. He's up there with the greats. I mean, you think about those MVPs that he's had and Sid the Kid title. I mean, he's not a kid anymore.
Oh, no.
He's a veteran now.
Yeah,
and he's going to have to show it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Gretzky won, I believe, 4 titles, and Sidney, I believe, is going to be right up there if he wins this one. He could have just won 2. I can't remember how many the Penguins have won. I'm not a Pittsburgh fan. I'm from Cincinnati.
I think they've won 3.
Have they won 3? So this would be 4 for the Penguins? Man.
I think so.
If that's true, then it really cements a lot of his legacy as one of the best players in the NHL if they can come back and win this series, especially if Nashville. I mean, I really want to root for Nashville, though. I do. I like Nashville. I like the fact that it's their first finals. They're getting in the groove. The fans are backing them. They got the CMAs there. There's a lot of energy, a lot of positive energy with that.
A ton of positive.
And did you see how they throw catfish on the ice?
I know.
What's with that? They got squids. Sometimes they get thrown. They got hats for hat tricks, but they got catfish. What's the purpose of that? If someone's listening, please help us, and we'll get you like some email address or something. We need like we have a SoCo website for our social media club. Maybe we should just have everyone go there and say like, what's the deal with the catfish?
Well, I think it's like a Pittsburgh thing. I'm probably wrong, but it could be like a...
I'm probably wrong. Well, that's always something good to say on a radio show. Oh, man. So Joey, let's transition from NHL. What is something outside of the playoffs going on? Because, again, this is a huge sports time with playoffs, but there's other things happening around the MLB and other sports. What's one thing that you want to tell the listeners about right now?
Well, the Houston Astros, I remember back when they were in the NL Central.
Yep, they didn't do well.
Well, I mean, maybe it's because they're well, I think they'd be doing really well this year, even with the Cubs. Maybe not last year, but this year they're certainly dominating. They are 42-17. they're dominating the AL West, even with the Texas Rangers club. That's also pretty good. It's they're 14.5 games back. The Rangers are, and they're in second.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even talking about all the other teams, like the A's. The A's are
Oakland
way
A's, yeah.
back. Yeah.
Okay, so the Houston Astros, they got some good pitching now.
Yeah.
And they're hitting. I mean, they just last night they're up 7-1. What was this was 11 game winning streak?
Yeah, they were on an 11-game winning streak, and then they were facing the Royals, and the Royals have been pretty bad this year.
Which is unprecedented because they won the World Series
2 years ago. But even still, last year they were all right, and this year they've just been bad.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Gordon hasn't had a home run since like August. Like, it's been a while.
Yeah, and that's the shortstop for the. There's a shortstop for the Royals, right?
No, left fielder.
Left fielder. My bad. I know it was on that left side.
No. Yeah.
It could be. I have no idea. I'm not a big Royals fan. So what happened? They're up 7-1 against the Royals last night. Did you know what happened? Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
Okay, what happened?
Okay, so the Royals, they just started coming back. There were a few runs, like a double, brought into, I think that was Hosmer, the first baseman, Eric Hosmer.
Eric Hosmer, right? He's a stud.
Oh yeah, he's a stud. And then all of a sudden it is tied 7-7. I can't tell you like all the runs because
how they got them, right? What the count was. I mean, come on, Joey. Why didn't you tell me the counts and where they were in the game like you did with the Scooter Jeanette stuff? You're not on top of that, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm terrible.
You can't, yeah. Unless you have it right in front of you, I don't think anyone can remember any of that stuff. So you're good. So it's 7-7 now.
Yeah, it's 7-7. Bottom of the ninth. 2 outs.
So, okay, it's 2 outs. Who's batting?
Mike Moustakas, the third baseman.
The Moose.
The Moose. Oh, my God. I have a story about him. I'm just going to go really quick. At the All-Star game, I was, like, getting autographs. Me and Sonny Gray talked for, like, half an hour. That was awesome.
You and who?
Sonny Gray. Is
yes.
Ace. Yeah. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Is he?
Oh, yeah, he's a cool guy.
Do you have a good story about that?
Yeah, but we can go into that for another time.
We'll save that another time.
But there was this really nice couple next to us, and they were huge Royals fans, and they kept on trying to get Moustakas over, but he just ignored them.
Aww.
He like looked right at them. They had like the moose things that came from they had like moose antlers like for him.
That's awesome.
But he just ignored him.
What?
And and I never particularly liked Mike Moustakas, and I don't hate him, but it's like kind of disappointing. I felt bad for those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. He hits a 3-run shot, barely clears the, barely doesn't go foul on the right side. It barely stays fair. It's a walk-off home run, and the Astros lose their winning streak. So talk to me about some golf, Patrick.
Okay, let's transition to golf. So the PGA and FedEx Cup is going on, and I'm particularly interested this past weekend because it was the Memorial. The Memorial was fun. It's played in Ohio, north of here. It was in Columbus, and it's Jack Nicklaus's course, right?
Yeah.
And what's funny about listening to it on TV, and sometimes I'll get to go. I hope soon because I've never been to the Memorial. I haven't really been to any PGA Tour event, but I think it's still kind of cool. But it's a little, I don't know, prestigious in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, it's the nice way of putting it because I feel like you got to get all dressed up and go. But
Yeah.
I had some friends that went to the Masters, and they said it wasn't like that at all.
Really?
They have like $2 hot dogs and some like really cool craft beers and stuff like that. It's real cheap, and even though it's got this image, it's not that bad. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep my mind open about that. But anyway, we're at the Memorial, and Jason Duffner wins it by 3 strokes at 13 under. And what's important about this is that we're getting close to culminating this PGA Tour and the championship coming up. So the last PGA event before the playoffs is Wyndham in Greensboro, North Carolina on August 17th. And the playoffs will culminate in September, the end of September in Atlanta. So what people don't know is that Dustin Johnson right now is now leading the PGA Tour. with points, and it's all
Yeah.
based on a points system.
Yeah.
So the more events you win, the more points you get, and what specific events you win, you get more points for those certain events and things like that. Recent winners include, I think Ricky Fowler won one year.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of really
Didn't
big
Bubba
names.
Watson
Bubba
win?
Watson won it one year. Jim Furyk won it another year. Vijay Singh,
Yeah.
I believe, won it, and it's a huge purse.
Yeah.
I mean, these events in itself, if you look at the Masters tournament, they're huge payouts, like millions of dollars. So
Oh, yeah.
if you win the FedEx Cup, if at the end of the year, so you get a playoff, it's kind of cool. I think the first year the FedEx Cup was institutionalized with their playoff with the PGA Tour Championship was, I believe, like 2007. And they have a four event tournament playoff at the end of the year, and they dwindle it down to 150 golf players. So it's a big deal, and it's a big purse. So the winner of the FedEx Cup gets $10 million.
$10 million?
$10 million.
Wow.
That's not even, I mean, you think about, these guys are worth a lot.
Yeah.
I think I read an article the other day about the net worth of Ricky Fowler, and he was close to about $400 million in net worth. Like, yeah, he's like $500 million in net worth, not just with his winnings, but with the sponsors that he gets from Puma.
Wow.
And all that stuff, advertising money. I mean, these guys make bank. I mean, this is a different conversation for another day about how that's comparable to athletes in basketball and baseball, and there's position athletes like quarterbacks and pitchers that make the most money. But I'm just excited because this is coming to fruition, especially in the summer when it's a lot more fun to watch golf. And with these tournaments coming to conclusion at the end of the summer, and you're gonna see some of these things, especially when it was in Columbus, right near us in Cincinnati. It was kind of fun to watch it. And I just want to end on this note that if you were watching the Memorial on TV, you heard in the background the cicadas.
Oh, yeah.
You know the cicada drama
yeah.
that we're having right now? It's nuts. And everyone heard that on the TV. Like, I heard the buzz, just a zzz, like in the background of the Memorial. I'm thinking, I thought this was just like a Cincinnati thing.
Yeah.
But maybe it was just in my head. Maybe I didn't. But I turned it on mute and I still heard it. And I was like, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just here and they're just overwhelming my apartment or something like that.
The cicadas came 2 or 3 years early or something. So they wanted to terrorize us. They wanted to terrorize golf.
That's right.
They have a grudge against golf. That's the only possible explanation.
Well, that's what I'm looking forward to. That is my take. That's my pitch on what I'm looking forward to this summer.
And with that, that'll conclude our payoff pitch with me, Joey Oberding, and Patrick Lewis. We hope that you will join us next week here at MRC 95.7 FM.